Croeso I sianel Blaid Llwyd. And as I promised, we're back at Hammond Manor with more Password. Of course, this is written and illustrated by Grizz, who, along with Evan King, Samuto, The Beholder, David Taylor, Popot, Brandon Bradford, Anubis Silverwind, and Ida Corval, are all my top Patreons. So thanks, guys, for supporting me. I do appreciate what you do, and all the people who support me on Patreon. So let's pick things up. We're on Dean's route, Dean's Day 16. Let's get into it. While I slept, I wasn't resting. Every day seemed to have more questions rather than answers, and those questions worried me to my core as to why they'd even come up. The syringe, the vial, the rabbit, even Oswin's rat had me swimming in both worry and confusion. What did it all mean? How did it all connect? Why did I feel like I was the centre of it all? Then there was the vault. What was so important to have stored on the other side? What exactly was the thing that made me see the things I did, if not that room itself? And most importantly, who was marked for death? Why? I opened my eyes and saw it was sometime early in the morning. I wasn't tired anymore, though, too distracted with my thoughts to rest. Dean was still sleeping peacefully, his arm around my shoulder and my head resting against his chest. I cuddled against him again, sighing out. He was warm, fluffy and soft. I felt safe here with his arm around me. Each of his breaths were level and gently shifted his chest underneath me, rocking me as if I were adrift at sea. Or at least that's what I imagined it'd be like. The words for it that I wasn't sure if what I felt was love or just some other emotion. But the longer I lay there, the more I worried that now that I had something, I was at risk of losing it. Easing myself out of his grip, I swung my legs over the side of the bed and sat up to stretch and rub my face. Maybe a walk would do me some good. After throwing on some clothes, I headed out of the room. Carefully, I wandered downstairs with my hands in my pockets, quietly in case someone was around, or maybe it's because I was listening out for anything else that might be wrong. In the middle of the foyer, I looked around, and all I could hear was the faint white noise that came with absolute silence. I checked the air next, breathing in deep through my nose. Nothing out of the ordinary. The lingering smell of food from the kitchen. Benson somewhere nearby, but that's about it. Sighing out, I wandered towards the back door and placed my hands carefully on it to look out the window. The world was still, and I could see Benson standing in the middle of the back deck, looking out at the woods. Easing open the door, I peeked around it using it as the barrier while I tried to get Benson's attention. "You're doing a poor job of being subtle, Dave. But no need to be afraid. There's nothing but us out here right now." "All right." I stayed by the door just in case, but was now solidly outside for the first time since being out in the woods. How did... As expected, there hasn't been anything of note. Just a quiet night with my thoughts. I'm assuming that your thoughts are what's keeping you up? No, I slept, but... Yeah, I guess with everything going on, I just... Sighing out, I wandered a little closer, scratching my arm. This was meant to be a vacation. You know, something fun. But now I'm just... Well, I've broken down and cried, so that's... Okay, maybe that was a good thing, but the road blowing up? Yes, that is something that troubles me as well. Not in that our escape method is cut off, but whoever blew it up in the first place as well. There's no other way off the mountain. Unless some new way has been invented, I see no means to land aircraft on the mountain either. Not in level terrain or wide enough space. Well, shy of the area around the mill, but trust that Oswin and I would have noticed a helicopter. Benson scratched his moustache, sighing out. Although with how much of a shut-in Oswin is, it's a wonder he notices anything these days. Is that why the security system is there, so he can keep tabs while he's safely in his lab? That's what he'd claim, although to be fair, I was the one that did most of the installing. Can't be too careful when what visitors you do have are those with a lot of money and power, with rarely the wisdom to know how to use either. You're talking about Orlando's dad again? Among other things, it's no different to when their parents were around, given the company was much the same. Consider it part of the package deal being wealthy grants you, my boy. I'm kind of thankful that I guess my family wasn't well off. I wouldn't say that. From what I understood, your mother had quite the salary and your father had a well-paying job as well. I guess that's true. I never really saw it that way. Rarely do those with money understand just how fortunate they are over those that do not have it, much in the same way those that do not have money have no grasp of what it's like to have it. As they say, ignorance is bliss. I don't think that's right at all. No. Well, Tyson was dirt poor, and I shared what I had with him because it felt fairer that way. In Orlando, we always had neat toys, but he'd share them with me, new games and stuff. Then I'm glad that the newer generation is at least somewhat more aware of those around them. Or perhaps it's just your natural magnetism at work, Dave. It could be. I don't think I'll ever know. From what I've seen, you've done well in rallying your friends together. After all, they were willing to search the house for you in hopes of finding a gun they did not even know existed. Where did that gun ever end up? Just with Oswin, right? Let's see. I believe the night you were looking for the gun, I had it in my possession. I handed it off to Oswin the day after. Granted, it wasn't the only gun I had with me, as I was cleaning both his and mine that day. Proper gun maintenance is a good habit to practice. I almost jumped when I heard the door behind me shift, stepping away from it as someone stepped out to join us in the morning air. What's this, having a conversation at this hour? I believe Dave was just having some trouble sleeping and wanted someone to talk to. Hardly surprising. How much danger do you think we're in? Surely you've been in dangerous situations before, right? That's an interesting question. I do believe that most of the situations Oswin has found himself in exclude all the bad ones I've circumvented from him even noticing. I'm not a child, Benson. I'll have you know that I know full well you've been up to something for my own good. Then I shall keep this in mind the next time Roswell makes a pass at your cereal, and I'll let you step in personally. Oswin huffed, shaking his head. How about I'll learn one day with the line is drawn? But is today that day, sir? I'd hardly think you'd be so magnanimous to drop all of your strong opinions after that show at breakfast. It may just be. It's something that all things considered, I'd like to square away with him just in case the worst happens. Not that I don't like the idea of you two playing nice, but why are you awake? Much like you, I had too much on my mind to sleep. And true to any other day, you put on your lab coat rather than walk around in your pyjamas. Well, how do you know that when I wear this lab coat I intend to work? The day I take this off for good is the day I finally stop actively working on things. You understand, right, Dave? You wear that orange hooded sweater a fair bit, and I doubt you have more than one. I guess that's kind of the same, but it's mostly just comfortable. It's not even really mine, although I guess I've had it long enough that it may as well be. Pardon? The orange hoodie is Tyson's. Or was. Just some old thing he'd stretched out from wearing it too long. I just have got given it one day as cold and found it comfy. So like a hand-me-down. I can't say I've ever had that experience. No, that's because your upbringing told you that there was no sense in not buying everything new. Maybe I'd understand it better if I had siblings growing up. My parents bought all my things new as well. Well, as someone that grew up with siblings, handing out old clothes and the like was hardly a foreign concept. When times were tough, you may do. Like now? How do you mean? Although I suppose in a broad sense times are tough, but not for financial reasons. Oswin looked at Benson, giving him a quick study before nodding his head. I'm up now. Get some sleep, Benson. Chances are we're going to have quite a day ahead of us. Well, I don't think I'll be getting much sleep. I will, however, take you up on your offer. Good night, gentlemen. Benson gave a short bow before wandering back inside, leaving me alone with Oswin outside again. He gestures me towards the edge of the deck where we'd stood before and looked out over the backyard. It was a solid couple of minutes before he said anything, quietly as if he was trying to keep me calm. You left an impression on me last we spoke. Like a few hours ago. That's right. I went into the lab and asked Thanatos what his take on this was. I stayed quiet, expecting him to elaborate on his own. As I thought he wasn't exactly helpful as far as knowing anything new. Or at least that's what he says. Great, I guess. Oh, cheer up, boy. It's not all bad. We have a few tricks up our sleeve yet. Tricks? You starting to sound like Roswell. I chuckled weakly, shaking my head. Or maybe it's a bore thing. Is this the part where I jokingly call you a racist? Yeah, I guess you would. Would it help if I told you a secret? Perhaps what's behind the vault door? Probably not. Knowing what's behind isn't going to stop Jack and Orlando's dad from coming to take it anyway, right? Perhaps, but you might understand why I'm very much interested in keeping it out of his hands. How bad can it be that you're putting us at risk by not just handing it over? Well, I don't think Memphis really cares much about what I've hidden behind that door, but if he were to find out, then, well, we'd have a lot more death on our hands. I grumbled for a bit before sighing out, shooting him a sideward glance. Okay, fine. What's behind the door? Behind that door was my greatest work and my greatest failure. A single dose vial of something that I never should have created. A poison. A cure. I frowned, trying to think about how that could be a bad thing. But he continued where I could raise the question. Or at least it should be when in reality it isn't. So it is a poison. Not in a conventional sense, but let me explain it in a different way. What do you imagine would happen if a type of medicine existed that cured everything and anything? Well, that'd be great, right? No one would need to be sick. You could save countless lives. You'd think so, but alas, that's not the case. For it literally cures everything, doesn't it? The actual medicine would, yes. But think about how pharmaceutical companies make their money. They make their money off the sick, off those that can afford to buy medicine that may not work. Dave, sick people get desperate to do anything they can to survive. For every one of those people, another is in a position to take advantage. Take advantage how? Fakes, cheaper alternatives that people would turn to only to be given a saline solution of their efforts when they can't afford the real thing. Whoever made it could just make it cheap, right? Well, not if it's expensive to make, but even then it's assuming that it passes the medical board of medication, and there are a lot of interested parties in ensuring the sick stay sick so the money keeps coming in. But that's awful. It is. But that's how the world works. It's more problematic than that too. Imagine all the people that no longer have jobs because it's one medicine making everything they've worked on redundant. Overnight you collapse the whole industry. Well, good thing that the thing behind the vault door isn't that medicine then, right? Instead we have... what? It's technically that very medicine, Dave, but tailored to one specific individual were they still able to take it. The last that time is long gone now. It may as well just be poison. Why aren't they able to take it? What would happen if I took it instead? Put simply, the person who it was made for can no longer take it. You cannot cure what they have, like with any other person who is dead. But if you took it, you would assuredly die. Oh, it's all right, Dave. It serves as something for me to remember them by, that's all. When my time comes, I'm sure that someone will take care of what's behind that door for me. And if I need to die to protect it, then so be it. But for now, we'll need to ensure everyone's ready for the days ahead. Oswin backed away from the railing and scratched his chin. Speaking of, you'd best get some sleep if you can. What about you? I'll be fine. I've had some coffee and trust that if you hear some gunshots, I'll have noticed an unwelcome guest on the property and given them the proper greeting. Is there anything else? Anything at all I can do instead to prepare? Not really. Not until everyone's awake, although... He studied me over, deciding to not add anything more until I gestured to him to continue. A scavenger hunt, how's that faring? The question blindsided me and I did a double take, wondering if I'd heard him correctly. I think we'd mostly forgotten about it with everything kind of happening. Oh, shame. If you find any more of them, I'd very much like you to continue searching. Really? With anything going on, you still want us to keep searching for those medals? Well, I do. After all, they're very important. If anything, it'll give you something to focus on that isn't impending doom, should it make any difference. I gave him a funny look, but I found myself yawning. Tiredness was creeping in and became more of a pressing need than arguing the point with him at this time of morning. Sweet dreams, Dave. I shall see you in a few hours. Making my way back upstairs, I wandered to the bed I spent the night in. Everything was as if I'd never left, and I tried to make myself comfortable with everything still running through my head. I wondered just how dangerous this thing was behind the vault door. It was just a tall tale to keep me distracted from the knife-toting rabbit somewhere in the woods. Sure enough, though, my eyelids were growing heavy, and cuddling down the warm covers, I drifted off. Although it was not long after I found myself waking up with the day properly starting. In a daze, I woke up and got out of bed again. The few comments thrown my way I mumbled incoherently in reply to, but that seemed enough to get me by. I was still so tired. I hoped I'd end up just passing out from exhaustion later, just an excuse to have a good rest. It felt strange to want to just pass out with the danger just out of view, but someone else could worry for a while in my place, right? Much like Benson had done already, but again. Both of us ran into each other on the stairs, a lot of us a combination of tired, restless and hungry. It's only at the mention of food that I felt my stomach rumble, and the thought of eating made me feel a little more normal. This was our routine though. Gather together, someone would go into the kitchen to get food, and we'd eat and chat. Or at least it was. Now we're all just sitting at the table unsure what was meant to happen now. So, how did everyone sleep last night? Everyone's attention went to Dean, although no one replied immediately. That's bad, huh? Oh, I didn't do too badly, all things considered. Could have been worse. Well, it's not that, Dean. We're all kind of rattled. The road blowing up certainly is... what I mean is no one could have seen that coming. I'm with you there. If the whole road is gone, then someone was planning on making sure that we couldn't get away. But we didn't do anything to anyone. Well, at least I didn't. Oh, none of us did. This is just bad luck. I thought you had all the luck, Roswell. Shouldn't that, Well, as much as I'd usually agree with you, I guess my luck just didn't pan out this time, Dave. Luck or no luck, what's the plan? Are we able to just wait until someone comes looking? Or are we wandering down the main road? With a lunatic in the woods? No way should we go out there. Plus, do you know how long it'd take to get anywhere? Well, if we got to the main road, that should be fine, right? Hail down a car and we could hitchhike? I don't think that's going to work. Too many of us and we don't know just how bad the damage is, do we? One wrong move and we'd be in trouble. So, we're stuck, right? We're certain that we're stuck? I turned to the other three, seeing if they had anything to add. The moment I did, however. We're not stuck. Not if we accept that there's danger. But the woods, right? That's literally where the danger is. I think I get it. If they go into the woods, then they must be able to get off if they set the bomb, yeah? Only place we haven't searched is the woods. Sal nodded quickly, shooting Dean a quick look. We could try going through the forest, if worst comes to worst. I'm not going out there. Not that I can be sure I'm not going to be chased by him again. Not even if we all went together? Here, do you seriously suggesting safety in numbers? How the fuck is that going to work? We have no idea where we're going. It's not the best plan, or even the safest. But at least we have an option should things get to the point where we can't stay here. That's all well and good, but let's help us figure out what to do now. Any luck with our phones? We all reached into our pockets and checked, but after a few moments it was clear that whatever signal we had still wasn't available to us. So, that's a no. Whatever happened with the landline idea? I can answer that. Our eyes all went to the door, seeing Oswin standing there with his arms folded. He stepped close to the table, adjusted his glasses and continued. The landline idea failed because there isn't one. How do you not have a landline? Who am I going to want to contact? I have a cell phone, as does Benson. I can assure there are very few people I contact with it. I'd much rather do my correspondence in person anyway. Speaking of, how is he? I mean, up all night? I imagine he's resting, right? Yeah, they tagged out however long ago it was. That's right. All the time I've been keeping watch, I've not had to worry about firing off my gun. Nothing has appeared as far as I could tell. Are you sure you just didn't miss anything? Oswin grunted, shooting Roswell a dirty look. Yes, I'm positive. So, for the time being, we should be all right. They're not going to make a move now they're all awake, are they? Well, it's hard to say. Truth be told, it makes sense for any movement being made during daylight for general navigation. Even a rabbit would know better than to make a move in the dark. Why? I thought they could see in the dark. They can. But us on high alert would no doubt make for a poor move. Whoever is out there is outnumbered. Sure, but not this day. We're all awake if we stay in groups. Picking us off to get to what they're after will be that much harder. So, stick together while we do what exactly? Search our way to safety? Off this mountain, I mean? Well, we restrict our search just around the house if we're staying as far away from the danger as possible, right? Doesn't give us many options for finding things to get away from the house. Well, as it turns out, there's something else you could be searching for. What is it? The medals. There's a confused silence shared among those at the table after he spoke. Looks were exchanged as Oswin's smile faded. You may believe this is just to be a game Roswell and Benson devised, but I assure you that along with coming out of this month alive, fulfilling the scavenger hunt to the best of your ability is equally important. How the fuck is that more important than getting out of here alive? I thought that it was only meant to be a game. Is it something to keep us distracted from thinking about being in danger constantly? Partially, I did say it's equally important and not more so. Indulge me or not, it's ultimately your call. Much like you, I have no idea where they are. Well, we've found some, at least. Show me. Well, it's not like they're here with us now. Why would we be carrying them with us? Well, fine, then. Can you describe them, then? If you give us a couple of minutes, we can go retrieve them. It shouldn't be too hard. Come on, Tyson. Give me a hand, please. Fine, most of them are just in your room, right, Dave? I think so. I've just kind of let them laying around so you'd see them pretty easily. With that, the pair left in a hurry, but importantly together. It seemed the idea of sticking in numbers was already unquestionably a good idea. Now then, while we wait for them to get back, I've been meaning to ask if no one is hungry. I'd expected coffee on the table by now. I guess we've already not been in the mood to do anything about it. Hardly surprising. Although you can't just not eat, you should also have seen that. You should all have seen how well that fared for Dave in his throes of sadness. I'm right here. I'm very well aware. All the more reason you should all at least eat something that you go the day with an empty stomach. I remember what it's like to go days without food, and it's not pleasant. Well, I could make scrambled eggs, toast. Everyone fine with that? I'll come help, I guess. Someone better make the coffee while you're sitting out at it anyway. Dean Orlando wandered towards the kitchen while Oswald made himself comfortable at the table. The silence was uncomfortable, most because we all weren't sure what was going to happen next. Tyson and Sal returned out a little bit, dumping what metals they'd found on the table and sitting down. It wasn't long before Dean and Orlando emerged again, having hurried the preparation of breakfast just so they could rejoin the group. So, these are the medals. Yes, Manny, I didn't expect you had been so diligent. I looked at the medals on the table with a frown. There weren't that many, and even what we did have we'd found by sheer luck outside the one we directly got a hint for. Why, quite resourceful, have you know. Roswell, I put this down to sheer dumb luck more than anything you consciously did. In any case, what have we got of the set? Well, the first one is Aquarius, found in the hedge maze by Orlando. Sal blurted out a quick apology for going into his room to get the medal, to which Orlando just waved it off. Aquarius, alright. What next? I pointed out the medal I found in the greenhouse quickly, speaking up. I found this one underneath the giant pumpkin in the greenhouse. A pumpkin? That's a bizarre place to have found it, but no doubt are there more obscure places that these things could be found. I almost tripped over it, so yeah. Given that pumpkin's been growing there for quite a while, it's a wonder anyone found it, but this one is Taurus. Hold on, can we just back up and find out why you know which one is which? Well, I wonder, the medals belong to my family. Oh, what about this one? The one Dave and I found at the river. In the river? If you mean the one out in the woods, I'm baffled as to why it was all the way out there. Okay, but which one is it? Oh, Pisces. So, the one where the fishes got found in the river. Isn't that all on the nose? Does it mean anything bad? I don't believe so. If anything, I'd say it's a childish prank from someone that should have known better. I guess the important part's we found it, right? If we never went out there, we probably never would have found this one. And for that, I'm thankful. So, what now? Did we do good? Well, it's hardly a complete set, but you're making progress. Plenty more to go, however. Should pose enough of a thing to focus on to distract you from what dangers are lurking in the woods. If not that, I have something else to offer. Such as what? $1 million each. What? What did you say? Too low? Make it $2 million then. I honestly don't care either way. Oswin, that's a lot of money. You're really reckless with your money, you know that? Am I? Dude, you can't just casually drop numbers like that. 7 million without batting an eye. Normal people can't do that. I don't understand the issue. None of you are normal. I wasn't paying attention to anyone other than Oswin, and that's why the spoon that flew across the table and smacked him across the face made me do a double take. Roswell. $2 million is not a paltry sum of money, and we don't need to be bribed to go along with stuff just because. Does that warrant a spoon flying across the table, boy? Have you no table manners? Well, if we're talking propriety, I don't think you have any right to judge me, Mr. I'm throwing money at problems. How dare you, boy? God, stop, you're acting like children. Well, I might be young enough, but what's his excuse? You did this with Tyson, now you're doing this with Oswin, Roswell? Not cool. We have other things to be stressing us out without you adding to the mix. But that's a lot of money. Money that I'm free to do as I choose. It's going to do a lot more good as an incentive to stave off worry than sitting around in my bank account. If you're offering the money, then fine, we'll take it. He clearly doesn't want it, and if we get out this alive, the money will be nice to cover whatever therapy we might need to put this behind us. Is it really okay? Of course it's not. The offer's been made. Should you wish to take the money after all is said and done, or refuse, we can deal with it then. Is this fine, Roswell? Roswell seemed to be grumbling to himself, but said nothing to refute him. I noticed Sal carefully sliding the cutlery away from him, lest any more went airborne, and threw me a quick nod when he seemed satisfied nothing was in reach. I'll take that as a yes. And on that note, I shall leave you to it. I take you already have your assigned buddies from your game? That shall do for now. For what? A buddy system for staying safe, remember? Guess if we're looking for medals again, it makes sense we may as well do it in the teams we started with. Indeed. My eyes went to Tyson, wondering where he'd go. Don't worry about your brother, Dave. Roswell and I will keep him company while you and Dean partner up as usual. We will? Dude, I don't think you have any room to question my call on this after lobbing a spoon at Oswin. Not your smartest moment for sure. Fine, although I want it clear that I'm fine with it regardless of you deciding it for us or not. Great. With our group set in something resembling a task under our belts, we ate what food we were in the mood for before splitting off. As we all broke off, I followed Dean. After all, as my partner, we had to stick together, right? What I didn't expect was him to make a beeline towards the basement. Dean, why are we down here? His ears perked the moment I broke the silence. He turned to me slowly. Oh, I just figured we'd check the vault, right? Why? Well, we're looking for metals. It's been something you've been messing with, so maybe give us a clue? Trust me, that thing won't give us anything other than showing me things I don't want to see. Well, you've been down here with someone when it happened. Or anyone. I quickly shook my head. We could maybe try messing with it if you want. Might be better with something to keep you safe rather than doing it all alone. Walking past Dean towards the door leading into the room, I peered in before closing the door to the vault closed. No, I don't want to. Yeah, all right. Dean, can I be honest about something? Of course. Do you think things would have been better if we just didn't come on this vacation? Well, how could they have been worse? Dave, we're being hunted and we almost lost you. I scratched my head before shaking it, thoughtful. Well, let's take us, for example. All right. Oh, I think we're doing fine. Now, at least. That's what I mean. Are we doing fine? Would we be if we never came here? Okay, I get it. Dean sat down and rested back against one of the walls, running his hands through his fur. We're doing all right, aren't we? I sat down next to him, mimicked how he was sitting, looking out into the empty basement. I don't know. Maybe. Well, that's reassuring. No, I mean, we're good as friends. That much I know, right? All right. But you're wondering if we're good as something more than that, too. I guess. Think back to the picnic. You weren't sure if it was a date. I thought it was. How long were we just going to keep doing things like that without, getting anywhere? Oh, you're right. Well, that's probably one of the few things that this vacation has done right. Probably done more for Tyson than it has for any of us. And Hoss, although I guess that's still a Tyson thing. Well, I know what you're getting at, and it's... Well, what did you want me to say? That I like you? That I'm bad at this? Nah, I think going over that's going to help anyone, Dean. What? If we're... in danger. Right, so we're at the point of wondering if date is even worth it if we could be dead tomorrow? I whined, hanging my head. I guess so, yeah. Maybe not as dire as that, but it's kind of like that. Well, what if we're not dead tomorrow? What do you mean? Well, I'm not going to pretend this is all, fixed by saying that. But if we start by thinking that nothing's worth doing anymore because there's no point, then what's the point of anything? I like you. Well, I'm not perfect. In fact, no one is. I'd like to keep dating, but if you decide you don't want to because there's everything going on, I'd completely understand. And if I did want to keep on dating, well, we take it one step at a time. Truth be told, I've been kind of planning something. What kind of something? Well, just something nice. Figured it might help lift the mood a little with everything bad going on. Okay, but what is it? Well, it's a surprise. Well, nothing's locked in yet. Oh, okay. So, what do you say? I looked across to Dean, his smile contagious. I copied it and soon found myself snickering from how silly it all was. Okay, sure, lock it in. Great, you'll have fun, I promise. I'll have to talk to Orlando again just to make sure it's all good still. Wait, Orlando's already in on it? Oh, for once, he and I had the same idea. I just beat him to the punch and he was all too eager to help out. This sounds like a recipe for disaster. Oh, it's not that bad, I promise. I settled back against the wall again and closed my eyes. Can I ask you something, actually? Of course. What's up? It sounds serious from your tone. Maybe a little, but not for the reasons you possibly think. What's troubling you, Dave? How are you so upbeat right now? Have I just forgotten how to be, happy? No, don't be silly. Of course you haven't forgotten. Times are rough for us now, and there's very little to be actively happy about. But in the off chance you have forgotten, at least it's something you can remember. What about you? How are you keeping it together? Well, I have the blessed of not needing to worry about recovering from what you have to. What do you mean? Come on, Dave. You're Dad. You have that to work through first, and when you do, the rest will come easy. Carefully I opened my eyes and looked at Dean. I felt vulnerable having this part exposed for him, but here I was on the verge of tears again. The moment I felt his hand squeeze mine, I whimpered and broke. A quiet whine preceding tears. I don't know what to do, Dean. I'm scared, terrified about what's going to happen next. What if we never get home? What if one of you guys die? What if it's my fault? Dave, listen to yourself. You're trying to carry the weight of all this alone. It's my responsibility, isn't it? I can use the vault. Who else is going to... I couldn't finish, instead whining again, realizing that my face was completely drenched. Dean removed his hand from mine and used it instead to put it around my shoulders in a hug. You can use the vault, sure. But the one person you fail to take into consideration here is you. I don't matter. I yelped as Dean suddenly smacked me across the face. How? What was that for? Don't you dare say you don't matter. Ever. Okay, fine. When you went wandering into the woods, you worried all of us. I'm not about to say I felt the most worried, but I did feel hurt you go in there by yourself after what happened last time. You're right. I caught myself as I was going to sigh, frowning instead. Wait, Jack? Jack? Yeah, he was out there with us that day in the woods. The thing you saw, that was him. It must be, right? If it was, why didn't you approach me then? There's a good question. What changed between the time we went out and when you went out by yourself? Or anything you can think of? Nothing immediately comes to mind, at least nothing that involved him anyway. Well, alright, I guess something we should just keep in mind then. Still, I shouldn't have gone out there by myself. No, you shouldn't, but at least we can count our blessings that nothing worse happened. What happened was bad enough already. Yeah. We sat quietly for a bit before I leaned back into Dean. His arm slid from my shoulder down my back and I sighed out as I got comfortable. What are we going to do, Dean? What did you want to do? I don't really know. Part of me was so keen on doing more stuff in bed, but now I'm just... I don't know. What, not feeling up to it? No, I probably would be if we both got naked and just started kissing, but just thought of us being in that much danger has made the whole thing messed up in my head. Oh, that's not good. It's not bad, really. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. Oh, how about we start with what's messing with you? We can go from there. So... I tried to think of the best place to start. Finding my hand on his thigh, a reminder of just how little there was separating us. Clothing, that's it. The thought already making me heat up under my fur. Remember how Orlando seemed so disappointed after I told him it was just a finger? I must have blindsided Dean with the comments. He snorted before rolling into a hearty chuckle. Oh, I do. I seemed a little bit disappointed there wasn't much more to the story to tell. So I wonder if, does it count? Am I a virgin still or not? Why does that bother me at all? Well, is it important to you? I don't even know. Sex is stupid. Well, have you know, sex is great, but I get what you mean. Well, what's so great about it? For you, I mean. What, you didn't feel great after what we did? Sure, I guess. Is that all? Is that all, he says. Dave, what I felt doing that with you was more than just getting off. I like the closeness and the vulnerability that comes with it too. Being able to be that, bare with someone is a good sign of trust, I think. Bare as in you, or bare as in, Oh, why not both? My point is, for me, I don't think I'd be able to just go hook up with some random person. It's all about trust, and if I have it my way, just liking the other person first as a baseline. Oh, well, I guess I may always just assume it'd be something boyfriends just did because, this will sound stupid, but I guess porn? Well, porn is good, although, not always true to life. Well, that said, my experience there only goes as far as one other person, so... one more than me, at least. Well, how about when we get home we can maybe look at doing it properly? Slow evening, a lot of lube, and you can set the pace. That could be a while given everything that's going on. What, you're going to now say that you'd want to blow off some steam? I don't want to rule out the possibility. I groaned, rubbing my face. Now I feel dumb that only a few minutes ago you had me crying and now we're talking about sex. You brought it up. I know. I liked what we did. It brought us closer together, and if I'm being honest, I'm glad my first time was with you. Oh, don't scare me like that, Dave. Sorry. Do you think maybe we jumped a little bit too early with the sex stuff? I was curious about it before, but now what I really associate you with is, that. Oh, that's a problem. I know, but I wanted to find a thing. I feel it's impossible to do that line. Sorry, guys. That's really what you think about me? I'm just some kind of sex-crazed bear? A little. Well, that's a bit hard to hear, but it's my fault. Don't get me wrong, I kind of like it. I guess just with everything going on, it's the one thing that sticks out most, you know? Well, as long as I'm more than that to you. Otherwise we can take sex right off the table until this gets sorted out. How do you mean? Well, I told you I both need and want more out of a relationship than just sex, and that goes for friendships too. If I'm being honest, I like you in the same way I like Sal. A good friend, though it's a little different too. Because I can see myself one day loving you completely, more than in some really close friend way. I chuckled, rubbing my face again as I felt it heating up. That's, well, nice to hear. Oh, you're feeling a little better about it all, at least. Not the best way to get you to stop crying, but it worked. Yeah, I think so. I think I've got a better incentive now than just getting money or something. Well, I guess we better go find us some medals then. He stood up and offered his hand out to me, and I took it to rise to my feet. Yeah, they aren't going to find themselves. And while we're here... Leading the way, I entered the room with the vault and stopped in front of the door. Dave, I reckon one will be here. I wasn't looking for a medal, but something was telling me that I wanted to have a proper look at the room that had been causing me so much grief. Probably not, but... Running my hands over the wall, I thought back to when Roswell and I were here after the hedge maze, wondering if there's a compartment we overlooked or some other clue I'd missed. Dean had decided to poke at the input panel, but I didn't hear the telltale beep of an incorrect password being entered. What are you doing? Just thinking. About? Or robots, or like, I guess, building machines, really. You're a gardener, though, right? Well, I'm a woodsman. I told you I could never figure out how to make the robots do what they do, but I could put something together, right? Right, but this is close to a computer, isn't it? Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out, because, well, we're in the basement. Okay. You don't just add a basement, not without a lot of effort. Well, I guess you could afford a mansion. Putting the room in the ground won't be too hard with enough money. Okay, but why do you think that's important? Easy. This is an old house, and this here is way more modern than some of the architecture. Meaning what? Well, I don't want to go pulling this panel off the wall, but it's got me wondering just what it's connected to. Well, maybe I should ask someone. Benson did say not to damage the house when we got you, right? He did say that. Even if he didn't, it'd be a good idea. No sense breaking anything we don't have to. We're not that desperate. Well, not yet. Right, well, I don't think there's anything here that's going to help us, Dean. Want to try punching in some words and we'll see where that gets you? I'd rather not. Not right now, anyway. Time to search somewhere else? Taking a look around the room, I tried to convince myself there was nothing else of value to look at while we were here. Sure enough, there wasn't, as far as I could tell. Yeah, I guess so. We continued on and searched some of the side rooms just to keep ourselves occupied. Dean didn't say much, and neither did I, at least until lunch. Then after it was right back to searching, although there's a lot more idle chatter to fill the space. In our own little world, it almost felt like it was just another quiet day hanging out together. When we all gathered for dinner, it was almost as if there wasn't a homicidal rabbit in the woods. We all sat down and seemed to be in higher spirits in general. At some point, Oswin and Benson had swapped out from keeping watch, and given the lack of gunshots, it seemed we were still without any extra guests. It brought me some relief, but still had me anxious. Almost like the prospect of someone threatening to pop a balloon inches from your face without telling you when or why. But still, it seemed that Oswin and Benson were discussing who should keep watch next. With how Benson was fussing over Oswin, it reminded me of Dad. Granted, Benson was shorter than Oswin by a fair bit, but he seemed to comply, if begrudgingly, to whatever it was that Benson had decided for the two of them. No one else seemed to turn up anything as far as medals went either, but progress was progress, even if it was just getting us back into the motions of looking for them. We ate dinner and everything was surprisingly normal. But as I ate, something started to eat at me again. Something about this morning that made me just wonder what I should do next. Thankfully, I knew exactly who to ask. Oswin, can we talk? The two of them turned to me as I lingered halfway through the open door to the backyard.
Oh, we can. Did you require privacy?
If you need it, I can step inside, should you wish. No, it's fine. Stepping outside in the night air, I breathed in deep and looked around. So far, so good, even with the familiar feeling of that night chill nipping at my fur.
Is everything all right? Did you find a medal by any chance?
No, not that.
Then what is it?
I was just thinking about everything that had happened up to this point, wondering about, what our next move should be. After all, we can't just continually be on the lookout, right?
You have a point, my boy. Have you thought of any ideas on what we should do?
Not really, but I did have a question.
You're starting to remind me of Roswell.
In what way?
Oh, he's been quizzing me a lot lately about what we should do as well, what the next move should be and such. After all, his idea of a vacation has been tainted by this unfortunate arrival. Question after question, that boy takes after his mother for sure.
Dave didn't come out to hear you reflect on Roswell. He's clearly got something on his mind. Right, well, it's the thing behind the vault door.
What about it?
You said this morning, we can't let that get into the hands of someone bags or what they could do with it. But if we destroyed it, then what's the risk? Oswin huffed, standing stiff.
Alas, I don't know the code to the door, so that plan is a failure from the get-go.
Well, you don't, but Benson does, right? The two of them looked to one another quickly before turning back to me.
That's a tad more complicated than I've let on, Dave.
But how? You said if we could find all the medals, we got what was on the other side. That's just big show gatekeeping for the sake of the game, right?
Yes and no, regrettably.
I don't like the sound of this.
I know the password of the thing inside the vault. There's a containment vessel holding what we spoke about, but that's not tied to the vault mechanism. As I told you, you'd struggle to get past the security on that thing.
Beyond that, however, I'm sorry to have to inform you that while I can ensure that you're allowed whatever's beyond the door should you find the medals, as of right now the password eludes me as well.
Wait, so that door can't be opened at all?
I don't understand. What's the risk of just handing it over then and we can just hike back home?
Do you know how to remove a basement room from a mountaintop building, Dave? We can't simply hand over the room to him.
It's not the room at all, is it? It's something else, unless he's a genius like you are. I don't think it's that dangerous.
I'd refrain from stroking his ego if I were you. Still, perhaps there is something we can do to stave off some danger. Perhaps meeting with this rabbit could warrant some thought. I'm not meeting with that rabbit again. Once was bad enough.
Where, you met him before?
I'd hardly call it a meeting, but he was present the last time Memphis Noble came toting up in his limousine.
Why is this only coming up now? You got a good look at him, right?
Unlike Oswin, who is prone to jump the gun when it comes to our legomorphic visitors, I prefer to be quite certain before taking action. If it is indeed the same Jack, and I'm almost positive it is, he's more useful to us alive.
He tried to kill me.
All the more reason we should do away with him if we get the chance. He's trespassing.
He wants a vault and wants to know Benson's still alive, which I guess he should know about now, right?
So long as I'm around, I think we should be alright. After all, what's the worst he alone can do?
He literally was going to stab me.
A fair point. Regardless, we have no bargaining chip we can hand over to make him leave us alone either.
My head started to hurt. Without realizing, I closed my eyes and clutched my temple.
Interesting.
What is?
I see you. I worry that come the month's end, your head is going to be hurting a lot more if you keep using the vault.
I could just be dehydrated, maybe.
If you wish for an injection, I can oblige. But in lieu of Benson's disapproval, let me say I imagine the vault is doing a number on your psyche. Remembering events from past iterations of the timeline. Who knows what change that could have on you or how lasting it may be. That's enough, Oswin. He's not one of your lab rats.
Thanatos has a brother I haven't met yet.
No, it's just him. Just as well. I have no fondness for that thing.
It's a rat, Benson.
Well, if you say so. Now, was there anything else?
I guess not. But if there's ever a plan of what to do next, can I be told first? Or if not first, just one of the first?
I shall endeavour to ensure that for your peace of mind, Dave.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Was there anything else?
Just one more question, but for Benson.
Oh?
What is it, my boy? We got you all the medals. What do you plan to do with them? Do they make a key? Do you have some special thing that lets you open the door, or...? Benson looked at Oswin, who quirked a brow curiously at him in kind.
That's a complicated question. Probably one best answered once all the medals are found.
Try me. If I leave now, I'll probably be up thinking about it.
Oh, he's got you there.
Very well. I have my orders in that should all the medals be found, I'm to prove it, and in turn I'll get the password to the vault door for, essentially granting to whoever I so choose.
I never gave you such orders.
Indeed. This one was a directive issued by your sister.
She's here?
Oh, I highly doubt that, sir. This request from her came long before Dave and his friends arrived. Truth be told, I was a bit confused as to why I'd be given one, but such is serving the Hammond family after all. But with the phones not working, I guess calling or snapping a picture is going to be impossible.
Quite. However, I'm sure I'll figure something out. I'm a man of my word, after all.
I could almost hear Oswin grinding his teeth in frustration from where I stood. We stayed quiet. Okay, well, I guess I'll head on to bed then, and thanks.
You're very welcome, Dave. Good night.
I headed back inside and wandered up to my room. The house was quiet without being silent. The others were around, some chatting, some just minding their own business, but how they moved hinted that they were still there. It eased the tightness in my chest I didn't realise I was still holding there. Closing the door behind me, I sighed out and had a shower. For my own sake, I needed to make sure I stayed on top of that, as the routine would keep me focused. There we go. That's the end of Dean's Day 16. And I hope you enjoyed that one. We'll, of course, carry on with Password in the not-too-distant future. But the next video for next weekend... You can tell I didn't plan that one. Next. The next video coming up a week from when I'm recording this is World 5 of ICO. That's Cetus's novel there. And then if all goes ahead, it's the following week is the one everyone keeps asking me about. So it'll be something to watch. And I am doing a little extra something on Tuesday. For those of you who can't be bothered looking it up, and why would you even look this up? Tuesday is actually 3 years since I put my first VN video on this channel. Yeah, I know, I can't believe it either. I've been for 3 months of my life talking over VNs. Interesting, but I'll do a little something for that, since I thought I should mark it since second anniversary went by completely unregarded. That's something else we can blame 2024. So a few things coming up for you. I hope you like what I'm doing for that one. And until then, we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.